Hey, good morning, you guys. Welcome back to the channel. Today, I'm going to be doing some faces just as a real short warm-up. I know that I do a lot of warm-up drawings for you guys. I think that doing warm-up drawings is extremely important as we progress through this world we call artistic learning. It is something that I do not only on a daily basis, but also I do a lot of drawing in the evening, a lot of sketching, a lot of thumbnails and stuff like that. Being busy, sometimes we kind of neglect, especially as artists, we neglect that daily service to ourselves. And that's exactly what this channel is. It's kind of a daily examination of different aspects of drawing. Today I'm going to be doing faces. Last week, as one of the assignments for my class, I had them do 4 emotions. And the emotions were happy, sad, fear, or somewhere, fear or surprise, and of course anger. And I had them put them into the delivery device of a clown face. It's funny is I had some students were like, I'm so afraid of clowns, and other students were like, shut up, I like clowns, clowns are great. I'm not going to be doing clowns this morning, but it really delved into what some of the students didn't know about what expressions were. And, I also kind of gave a short tutorial on body expression and how body expressions can really be a telltale sign of whether or not somebody's lying, or if they're happy, or if they're sad, if they're neutral. And we do things with our bodies a lot of times that we don't even realize we're doing. Talking with our hands, leaning forward, putting our palms up or down, leaning on one side, putting our hands on our hips, our hands behind our backs. All of those things are telltale signs of what we are feeling, and our emotions are something that come out in our body language. But today, I'm just going to be doing some simple faces. I had one of my LinkedIn contacts ask me, he said, oh, I love your videos, I love your videos. He said, but I need to see some more finished stuff. So that really rang true. I'm actually working on 2 illustrations for you guys, which show a process from start to finish of finished illustrations. The reason why I don't show finished illustrations is because a lot of times they take 15, 16, even 20 hours, maybe even more. And for me to put that into a 2-hour video or a 1-hour video is just not really practical. However, what he did bring up was the fact that I don't have a lot of finished art from start to finish on my channel. So I think that's going to change, hopefully. You guys will be able to see that process. So today we're doing faces. Hope you guys enjoy. Okay, so first thing in the morning, I've already done my little circles and my lines. What I'm going to do right now is I'm going to start building some faces, based on some stuff that I've seen during the week. This particular face is going to be of a businessman. And you see me, you typically start out with a circle, and I start thinking about what the character is and what he's supposed to be doing, in the context of what my drawing is going to be. So typical businessmen are very serious, but there's so many different types of businessmen. This might be a lawyer, this might be maybe a government official of some sorts, but very serious. And this particular character design, I've done 100 times before. Not this particular one, but, businessmen in general. That long face. Then you have the large businessman. Maybe he's overweight. He eats to comfort himself. Then you have maybe a devious businessman. Maybe he's part of the tax code. Maybe he's enforcing the tax code. Either way, this particular character is based on people that I've seen in my life. I've said time and time again what you need to do as artists, illustrators, people that record life. What you really need to do is to look around. Look around your world. Whenever I was younger, unbeknownst to my family, I would draw them. And, I would do these little thumbnail drawings and kind of express myself that way. I would draw teachers, and I have so many times when I've recorded things in my brain that I know are going to come out later on, whether it's in a character or character design or a nuance or something else that I designed. It's going to come out eventually. Artists are very good at observing, at least some of them are, body nuances and whatnot. I did a really cool little exercise for my students this week, and it had to do with emotions and identifying expression. And I asked them to draw 4 faces with expression, and the delivery device would be a clown. So they had to draw 4 clowns, and each face had to have a different expression. Happy, sad, mad, and fear. A lot of them didn't have any difficulty in executing this particular exercise, and I knew it was something that was really age. It wasn't, only 5th graders could do it, only 4th graders could do it. I went all the way down to kindergarten, and they had no problem doing it, and had a great time. I was able to show them different types of methodologies to, do faces and put expression in faces and stuff. There's many more artists that are probably a billion times better at this than I am, but this is kind of the methodology that I use. If you realize that the audio that was originally with this particular drawing is not with it, then you are correct. I had gone off on a huge tangent and started talking about so many different things. After I sat down and listened to this particular video, it became very apparent early on that I was just rambling on and allowing my hand to do and my brain to kind of separate. Isn't that interesting how sometimes whenever we draw, we don't, at least I do, I'll sit there and my eyes are working and I'm talking about something else, and suddenly I realize that I've drawn something completely unrelated to what I'm talking about. So, this is the second face in the rung, and maybe he's the young whippersnapper that is maybe an intern, or who knows, maybe he's sitting behind this particular individual in court. Either way, what you're seeing, again, is a combination of methodologies that I practice all the time, from stroke to thinking 3-dimensionally, sharpening my pencil right there, if you guys don't realize, and drawing through the forms to really establish, really strong character designs. And one of the things, I had somebody ask me recently to review their portfolio, and I like reviewing portfolios for students. However, this person is a seasoned veteran who gets a lot of work, and he's a fantastic illustrator. However, just like any kind of work, you can always have places of improvement. Now, even though his portfolio is very strong for commercial art and very strong for color and design work and stuff, his anatomy was really lacking. I mean, it was stiff, could really use some practice. You could tell that he had been drawing from imagination for quite a while, because he had a lot of interpretive design in terms of anatomy. So very politely I said, you need to improve your anatomy. Just do some practice, 20, 30 minutes a day. It's not a big deal. It'll probably take you 6 months to just blow everybody away. And he accepted that correction. That's really important. And I knew, because this particular artist, that's the type of character he has. He wants the best out of his artwork. And, I always want the best out of my artwork. I want to be able to improve every day. And one of the things that I always tell my students, and this I'm sure frustrates them, is, me as a illustrator, I enjoy making mistakes, because it shows me how not to do something. If somebody comes in and looks at my work and says, your anatomy needs improvement, here's a way that you can improve it. If you practice this, and this, here's a great reference. Then, that'll give me the tools that I need to really improve. If somebody comes in and says, your artwork sucks and your anatomy is terrible, and leave it at that, that is what is known as a bad critique. Whenever you critique something, you always want to have, it's called the critique sandwich. I call it the critique sandwich. You come out and you basically first start out with what you like about the piece. Then you get in down to the nitty-gritty and give improvements and advice and what you personally think needs improvement in the piece. Making a blanket statement saying that something sucks is not a very good critique. It just shows your inability as a critique person not being able to vocalize what you're trying to say. And of course, at the very end, you wrap it up with something else positive to say about the work or the individual. Early on in my career, I had a non-artist. He was a businessman. Liked what I did. I'd made him lots of money, and I don't think he particularly liked my attitude about certain things. And I was young, and I had a lot of things that I didn't, particularly know at that particular time in terms of business, and he didn't like my attitude. But he always had something positive to say about my artwork. And he said, "You're very talented. However," and he really taught me the importance of that critique sandwich. And that's something that can go across the board, not only if you're a parent, but also if you're a teacher. Always have something positive to say, whether it's about the piece or the artwork in general. So right now what I'm doing is, again, exercising those creative juices, getting into, getting that hand moving, getting that rhythm and flow, getting that weight, always thinking about what gravity is doing and what gravity does to the character designs, and just really trying to expand that general quick sketch ability. I focus on faces a lot just because I like how expressive they are. For the longest time, I was kind of afraid of faces. I had that stigma against faces because I didn't really know the construction of them, and I didn't really have that squash and stretch mentality on how you should be looking at the face as a malleable. I mean, it has that solid understructure, but all those muscles and how you can really squash and stretch the eyes and the muscles in the nose and everything. I was really afraid of all that. And I'm not really sure why. It's just one of those things, because I can remember doing gesture drawings in class, and my gesture drawings of the form of the body were spot on. I mean, you showed weight, they showed action, they showed attitude, but for some reason I would completely leave the face blank. And as models, whenever you're doing stuff, you don't want to have too much expression because a lot of times it'll detract from what the artist or illustrator is trying to accomplish in their gesture drawing. But I would flat out leave it blank, and that, I think, was a real disservice to myself as a learning experience. I should really have been delving deep into that. Those students who are watching my channel, you guys know that I'm a really big advocate of continual learning, not only in the classroom, after the classroom, but also if you're a professional, you should always be bringing your A game and learning something new. I'm learning two pieces of software right now. I've been learning one piece of software now for about 4 years. You'd think I'd be an expert at it, but I'm not, because I don't give enough attention to it. But I have a really good working knowledge of it. Right now, I'm kind of going through and showing you what I've done. And this is going to be the final drawing right here of just a generalized face. And what I do, again, I'm talking about shapes and form. And looking online, I've seen a lot of artists use general shapes to start out their portraits. And what they'll do is they'll start out their portraits, and then they'll copy that particular shape or have a malleable shape that they'll change, and then they'll put the face into it. And what I was just doing then is to keep considering and keep thinking about three-dimensional thinking. And one of the things that I said is, you're not drawing on the paper. And, it's kind of a stupid thing for me to say that, but as soon as you stop thinking about drawing on the paper, then you start thinking about drawing inside of the world that your drawing lives in. So what I'm doing right now is I'm not thinking about the surface I'm drawing on. I'm thinking about that three-dimensional form that turns in a three-dimensional space, and I'm taking my hand and I'm going in and I'm sculpting out the drawing. And I was talking about spheres just then. Whenever you turn a sphere or an oval sphere and it turns to the side, then it changes the way the form looks from your perspective. I know this is kind of difficult, but it'll really, really help you guys if you know, I'm talking about different skin folds and how whenever the eyebrow goes up, it folds the skin of the brow line and it causes causes it to change. But thinking three-dimensionally, you know, I heard one of the artists that I follow, Aaron Blaze, you know, he's consistently putting out incredible artwork on a level that a lot of people aspire to over their entire lifetime. You know, and I keep referencing him because he's a great teacher. If you guys don't know who he is, creatureartteacher.com, just a fantastic artist, gives so much to the artistic community. Of course, he has a means to which he produces money, of course. He probably has a freelance career, but he also has a school, and he sells these incredible video series from character design to animal renderings to the creation of digital illustration. It is just a very, very wide stroke of artistic ability that this human being possesses. Of course, he was an animator for years and years, and he worked on big Disney studio productions, but that, I think, sometimes overshadows the fact that his teaching ability is so clear, and it's just, you know, obviously I'll you know, reiterate some of the things that he'll say on my channel, just because it's something that, you know, I've learned throughout the years, and it's just a confirmation to hear him say it, you know, that I am actually doing something right. So, but thinking three-dimensionally, not drawing on the page, however, you know, forming that drawing within the side, within side of the world that your drawing lives in. That page is a world. It's a three-dimensional world that you live in. So I'm going to go ahead and wrap this particular drawing up. I'm not going to go into ink or anything. We're coming to the end of the video. Much longer than I wanted. My original video was 45 minutes long, but I went ahead and cut a lot of that out. Anyway, thank you guys for visiting the channel, and I can't wait to do more for you guys. We'll see you next time. Bye.